My friend's parents left us alone, but the night took a turn I'll never forget. The rain-slicked streets of Elmwood, Ohio, gleamed under the sodium glow of street lamps as I pulled into Jordan's driveway, the engine of my beat-up Ford rumbling to a stop like a sigh held too long. It was one of those sticky summer nights in 2015, the kind where the air hung heavy with the promise of thunder, and every breath felt like swallowing humidity. I was Alex Harper, 22, slinging lattes at the corner cafe to pay for community college tuition that felt more like a noose than a ladder. Jordan Mills, my best friend since we were kids terrorizing the little league fields with our wild swings and wilder dreams, was 23, home from his first year at Ohio State, crashing in his parents' split-level ranch while figuring out what the hell came next. We were both straight-up American boys from the heartland, cornfields and Friday night lights our backdrop, football jerseys and faded Levi's our uniform, or so everyone thought, including us mostly. His parents' minivan was already packed, taillights flickering like distant fireflies as they backed out. Mrs. Mills leaned out the window, her perm bouncing in the breeze, yelling over the radio's classic rock hum. "You boys behave. No parties, Alex. Last time you two nearly burned the garage down with those fireworks." Mr. Mills chuckled, that deep, gravelly sound like tires on loose gravel, and gave a thumbs up that said more about trust than words ever could. They were off to some family reunion in Cleveland, leaving the house echoing and empty. Jordan waved from the porch, his silhouette sharp against the yellow bug light, that easy grin of his splitting his face. But as the taillights swallowed the curve at the end of Willow Lane, something shifted. The night pressed in, thick as the storm clouds rolling low. I killed the engine and grabbed the six-pack from the passenger seat, Bud Lights sweating in the heat, condensation dripping like nervous sweat. Jordan met me at the door, clapping my shoulder a little too hard, his hand lingering just a beat. "Dude, freedom. Finally." His voice was all Midwest drawl, vowels stretching like taffy, but there was an edge to it tonight, a crackle under the calm. We crashed through the screen door, the hinges squeaking in protest, and the house smelled like it always did. Lemon pledge on the oak furniture, faint trace of his mom's pot roast from dinner, and that underlying mustiness of a place built in the 70s, when America dreamed big and divorced small. We kicked off our sneakers in the foyer, mine thumping against the baseboard with a dull thud, his skidding across the linoleum. Upstairs to his room, the one with the posters of Derek Jeter and the Cincinnati Bengals peeling at the corners, the twin bed sagging under posters of old mixtapes we'd burned on his ancient desktop. "Movie night?" I asked, cracking a beer and handing it over. The aluminum hissed open, foam bubbling up like unspoken words. He nodded, flopping onto the bed, remote in hand. "Yeah, something dumb. No chick flicks, Harper." But his laugh was forced, eyes flicking to mine and away, quick as a shadow. We settled in, shoulders brushing on the narrow mattress, the glow of the TV casting blue flickers across his jawline, sharp enough to cut glass. The flick was some B-horror schlock. Teens in a cabin, screams echoing through tinny speakers. But I wasn't watching the screen. I was watching him, the way his Adam's apple bobbed when he swallowed, the faint stubble shadowing his chin from a lazy shave, the way his knee knocked mine and neither of us moved away. We'd been like this forever. Bromance on steroids, sleepovers that stretched into dawn, secrets spilled over stolen sips of his dad's whiskey. But lately, every touch lingered, every joke landed heavy, like the air before a storm, charged and waiting to break. Halfway through, thunder grumbled outside, low and ominous, rattling the window pane. Rain started pattering, then pounding, a relentless drumbeat that drowned the movie's dialogue. Jordan paused it, sitting up, his shirt riding up just enough to show the trail of dark hair vanishing into his waistband. "Storm's bad. Power might go." His voice was casual, but his eyes weren't, storm-dark, searching mine. I shrugged, heart kicking like a bass drum. "Then we unplug. Tell ghost stories or some shit." He smirked, but it didn't reach his eyes. Nah. Truth or dare. Like old times. Old times. When we were 14, daring each other to jump the creek or sneak into the drive-in. But this wasn't kids' stuff. The room felt smaller, the air thicker, scented with the yeasty tang of beer and the earthy petrichor seeping through the cracks. Truth, I said, voice rougher than I meant. He leaned in, elbows on knees, close enough I could smell his cologne. Something woodsy, like cedar and regret. What's eating you, Alex? You've been weird since spring break. Weird. Yeah, that covered it. Spring break in Florida. Us and a pack of bros on the beach, sand gritty between toes, waves crashing like applause. But it was the nights, cramped motel room, his body heat radiating through thin sheets, the way he'd murmur in his sleep, hand brushing mine. I'd woken up hard, confused, blaming the sunburn and cheap tequila. Back home, I'd buried it under shifts at the cafe, flirting with the barista girls who smiled too bright, too fake. But it festered, like an itch I couldn't scratch. I took a long pull from the bottle, the cold bite grounding me. Just life, man. College apps sucking the soul out of me. Dad's on my ass about enlisting again. Half-lie. The real truth clawed at my throat, hot and insistent. He nodded but didn't buy it. My turn. Dare. I racked my brain, anything to deflect. Chug the rest of that beer. Upside down. He laughed, real this time, tipping back and draining it. Adam's apple working overtime, droplets spilling down his neck. He wiped his mouth with the back of his hand, grinning wolfish. Your turn. Dare. The rain hammered harder, wind howling through the eaves like a warning. My pulse thrummed in my ears, louder than the storm. Kiss me. The words slipped out, beer-bowled, hanging in the air like smoke. His grin froze, eyes widening, the room tilting on its axis. Thunder cracked, close enough to shake the foundations, lights flickering once, twice, then black. Darkness swallowed us whole. In that void, his breath hitched, a sharp inhale that echoed my own. The mattress creaked as he shifted, invisible but electric, his hand finding my arm in the pitch, fingers trembling. Alex. My name, whispered like a prayer or a curse. I didn't move, couldn't. The air between us crackled, charged with everything we'd danced around for years. Then, soft as the rain's hush, his lips brushed mine. Tentative, testing, tasting of hops and hesitation. It ignited. I surged forward, hands fisting his shirt, pulling him close as the kiss deepened, hungry and raw. His mouth was warm, insistent, tongue tracing the seam of my lips like he'd mapped this moment 1,000 times in secret. A groan rumbled from his chest, vibrating through me, and I tasted salt, sweat, tears. The world narrowed to this. The scrape of stubble, the wet slide of mouths, the frantic beat of hearts sinking like thunderclaps. His hands roamed, one cupping my jaw, the other sliding under my shirt, palm hot against my skin, tracing ribs that heaved with every ragged breath. We broke apart gasping, foreheads pressed, breaths mingling in the dark. Fuck, he whispered, voice wrecked. I've wanted that. God. Alex, for so long. The confession cracked me open, vulnerability flooding in like the storm outside. I laughed, shaky, a sound half-sob. Me too. Thought I was losing my mind. Another kiss, slower this time, exploratory. Nipping at his lower lip, savoring the hitch in his breath, the way his fingers dug into my hips like anchors. The power surged back on with a hum, TV flickering to life mid-scream, but we ignored it. Clothes came off in a tangle. His shirt yanked over his head, revealing the lean muscle from pickup basketball games, freckles dusting his shoulders like stars. Mine followed, his hands mapping my chest, thumbs circling nipples that pebbled under touch. We tumbled back, skin on skin, the sheets twisting like our thoughts. His mouth trailed fire down my neck, sucking marks that would bruise tomorrow, each pull drawing a moan I couldn't stifle. The room smelled of us now, musk and desire, rain-soaked earth, and the sounds. Wet kisses, zipper rasps, the creak of springs under shifting weight. He paused, hovering over me, eyes locked in the lamplight's glow, blue depths stormy with want and fear. This changes everything. His voice was gravel, hands stroking my thigh, inching higher, sending sparks skittering up my spine. I arched into it, nodding, words failing. Good change. A ghost of a smile. The best. Then he was on me again, hand wrapping around me, firm, sure, stroking with a rhythm that had me arching, gasping his name like a lifeline. Pleasure coiled tight, low in my belly, building with every twist, every whispered, fuck, you feel good. I flipped us, pinning him down, his laugh breathless as I returned the favor, mouth hot on his collarbone, then lower, tracing the V of his hips with tongue and teeth. He bucked, fingers threading my hair, tugging just right. The storm raged on, lightning flashing silver across his face. Eyes squeezed shut, lips parted in a silent cry. We moved together, urgent and unpracticed, learning curves and gasps, the slap of skin punctuating breaths. When release hit, it shattered us. His first, spilling hot over my fist with a guttural groan that echoed the thunder. Mind chasing, body seizing as waves crashed, leaving me boneless, spent. We lay tangled after, sweat cooling in the humid air, his head on my chest, heartbeat a steady thrum under my palm. The rain eased to a drizzle, tapping Morse code on the roof. What now? He murmured, voice sleepy, sated. I pressed lips to his temple, tasting salt. We figure it out. Together. Dawn crept in hours later, gray light filtering through blinds, painting us in soft hues. But that night, it etched itself into bone, the turn I never saw coming, the one that cracked open the world. Sun sliced through the blinds like accusatory fingers, painting stripes across the rumpled sheets. I woke to Jordan's weight half draped over me, his breath-warm puffs against my neck, leg hooked possessively over mine. For a heartbeat, panic clawed. Had it been a dream? Booze-fueled hallucination? But no. The ache in my muscles, the faint bruises blooming on my hips like purple petals, the scent of sex clinging to the air. They screamed reality. I shifted, and he stirred, murmuring something incoherent, arm tightening like he feared I'd vanish. Morning? I rasped, throat raw from moans I barely recognized as my own. He blinked up, hair a tousled mess, that boyish grin creeping back, softer now, edged with wonder. Hey! Simple word, loaded like a chambered round. We didn't rush to dress, just lay there, tracing idle patterns on each other's skin. His fingers spidering across my abs, mine combing through the damp curls at his nape. Outside, birds chattered in the maple tree, mocking the knot in my gut. What now? The question hung, unspoken, as heavy as the hangover brewing. Downstairs, the kitchen was a time capsule. Formica counters yellowed with age, fridge humming an off-key tune, magnets holding faded photos, Jordan gap-toothed at 8, me with braces at 10, arms slung around each other at prom, dates in tow like reluctant props. I fired up the Mr. Coffee, grounds grinding with a whir that filled the silence. He leaned against the counter, boxers riding low, watching me with eyes that stripped bare. Pancakes? I asked, flipping through the Betty Crocker his mom swore by. He nodded, sliding behind me, chin on my shoulder, hands bracketing my waist. With blueberries. Like always. Always. The word twisted because nothing was always anymore. We moved in sync, a dance we'd done 1,000 times platonically, now electric. His hip bumping mine deliberate, my laugh hitching when his thumb grazed the dimple above my ass. Batter sizzled on the griddle, butter popping like tiny fireworks, the sweet tang of fruit bursting under forks. We ate at the breakfast nook, knees knocking under the table, stolen glances sparking like live wires. Last night, he started, syrup dripping from his lip. I reached over, thumb swiping it away, lingering. Was fucking incredible. Relief flooded him, shoulders dropping. Yeah, it was. But shadows lurked. His parents due back tomorrow. My shift at the cafe looming. The world outside this bubble waiting to judge. We cleaned up in companionable quiet, suds foaming under running water. His back to me as he scrubbed a plate. I wrapped arms around him from behind, nose buried in his shoulder, inhaling laundry softener and man. Scared, I whispered, distilled, then nodded against my cheek. Terrified. You. Petrified. Honesty, raw as the rain-scoured streets. The day unfolded lazy, a stolen interlude. We mowed the lawn shirtless, grass clippings sticking to sweat-slick skin, mower's roar drowning doubts. He tackled me into the sprinkler spray later, water arcing rainbow bright, laughter bubbling free as we wrestled, bodies slipping and sliding. His mouth found mine mid-tumble, grass-stained and grinning, the kiss tasting of chlorine and chlorophyll. Inside, we showered together. First time seeing him fully in daylight, water sheeting over plains of muscle, soap suds tracing paths I'd follow with lips. Hands explored unhurried, mapping freckles and scars. The jagged one on his knee from a bike crash at 12. The constellation on his ribs from a flag football pylon. Under the spray, he dropped to knees, blue eyes locked upward, water plastering lashes like tears. My hand fisted his hair, gentle guide, as his mouth enveloped me, hot, eager, the suction pulling gasps from deep. I bucked, apologies tumbling, but he hummed reassurance, vibrations shooting straight to toes. Release built swift, cresting with a cry swallowed by the roar, spilling down his throat as he took it all, rising with a smirk that said he'd won something precious. I returned it against the tile, him bracing palms flat, my tongue teasing until he shattered, knees buckling, my arms catching his weight. Dried and dressed, we ventured out. Main Street Elmwood, with its mom-and-pop diner and the 5 and dime shuttered since Walmart rolled in. We grabbed subs at Gino's, grease-soaking paper, eating on the hood of my truck in the park, swings creaking empty in the breeze. Conversation skirted edges. "Remember Mikey from high school?" he asked, tossing a crust to pigeons. Mikey, the quiet kid who'd come out junior year, whispers and shoves following like shadows. Yeah, fucked him up bad. Jordan's jaw tightened. Made me think. What if? I squeezed his thigh, hidden by the door panel. What if we are? Dusk fell soft, fireflies winking like conspirators. Back home, we grilled burgers on the patio, smoke curling lazy, charcoal hissing under flames. Beers cracked, stories spun. Ghost towns of ex-girlfriends. The ones we chased to prove something to ourselves. To dads with expectations etched in beer foam. Sarah dumped me 'cause I wouldn't commit, I admitted, flipping patties. He snorted. Jenny said I was distant, like emotionally constipated. Laughter, but it cracked into truth. Maybe we were looking in the wrong direction. Night crept in, stars pricking the velvet sky, crickets chirping a lullaby laced with tension. We retreated to the basement rec room, pool table scarred from Q-Wars, old console TV flickering MTV reruns. "Rack 'em up," he said, chalking the tip with a puff of blue dust. Game stretched, elbows brushing on shots, bets escalating. Loser strips, then massages, then more. I sank the 8-ball, crowing victory, and he peeled off his tee slow, teasing, muscles flexing under porch light spilling through the slider. My hands worked knots from his shoulders, thumbs digging deep, eliciting groans that curled toes. Turned erotic quick, his head lolling back, guiding my palms lower, across pecs that heaved. We migrated to the worn sectional, vinyl sticking to skin, his body arching under mine as I straddled, grinding slow, friction building heat. Mouths met fierce, teeth clashing, his nails raking my back in red trails. "Want you," he growled, hands fumbling my belt, freeing me into his grip, stroking deliberate, thumb circling the head until pre-cum slicked the way. I reciprocated, our rhythms syncing, breaths panting in unison. The slap of flesh a counterpoint to the TV's laugh track upstairs. Climax hit tandem, ropes painting abs, mingling sticky, his forehead pressed to mine in aftershocks. Love this, he breathed, vulnerable. Love you. The words hung, heavier than humidity. I kissed them home. Love you too. Sleep claimed us on the couch, limbs entwined, the house a cocoon against the dawn's judgment. But morning brought the world knocking. His phone buzzed. Mom checking in. Voice tinny through speaker. Everything okay, Jordy? Alex behaving. He glanced at me, rumpled and marked, throat working. Yeah, ma. All good. Lie sweet and sharp. We dressed in silence, the air thick with unspoken tomorrows. As I backed out the drive, his silhouette in the doorframe, hand raised in half-wave, our eyes locked, a promise in the rearview, fragile as spider silk. 2 weeks blurred into a fever dream of stolen moments, each one a high-wire act over the abyss. Shift at the cafe dragged. Espresso machine hissing steam like my frustration. The scent of roasted beans a poor substitute for his skin. Customers blurred. The regular with her latte art heart. The college kids nursing hangovers. But my mind replayed loops. His laugh echoing in the stacks at the library where we'd hidden for hurried kisses. Books tumbling like dominoes. The back seat of my truck at Lover's Leap overlook. Windows fogged. His gasps fogging my soul. Jordan's texts lit my phone like flares. Miss your mouth. Come over after. I'd sneak out, parents none the wiser. Dad buried in Sports Illustrated. Mom lost in her crosswords. Elmwood slept early, streetlights pooling gold on cracked sidewalks. But we burned late. His room became sanctuary. Posters witnesses to grapples on the carpet. Carpet burns badges of bravery. We'd talk post-coitus. Sweat drying in the fan's breeze. Vulnerabilities spilling like afterglow. You're out, he'd asked one night, propped on elbow, tracing my jaw. I hesitated, ceiling fan whirring judgment. Not, officially. You, he shook head, curls flopping. Dad'd disown me. Football hero's son, gay? Nah. Pain lanced his voice, fresh as the scar on his palm from gripping the bat too tight in Little League. I pulled him close, chest to chest, hearts dueling. We'll tell when ready. Or not. Just us for now. Lies we told ourselves, sweet as stolen sugar. But cracks spiderwebbed. High school reunion loomed. Our 10-year. A circus of ex-jocks and cheer queens reliving glory in cheap punch. Gotta go, he said over burgers at the drive-in, ketchup smearing his lip. I wiped it, lingering. Together. Nerves flickered in his eyes, blue as Lake Erie chop. As friends. Yeah. The word friends twisted, barbed. Night of, I picked him up, him in Letterman jacket smelling of mothballs and memories. Me in button-down stiff as my resolve. Gym transformed. Balloons sagging from rafters. Disco balls scattering light like confetti regrets. Sweet Caroline. Blaring from speakers crackling age. Hug stiff. Backslaps too hearty. Tommy the quarterback. Beer gut straining his polo. Clapping Jordan's shoulder. Still single, Mills? Those Ohio State girls blind. Jordan's laugh barked. Forced. Waiting for the right one. Eyes met mine across the punch bowl, loaded. I nodded, sipping spiked fruit that burned false courage. Dance floor called. Bodies swaying awkward to Uptown Funk. He pulled me out, under pretense of bro dancing. Hips bumping, arms loose around necks, the crowd too tipsy to clock the heat. But Mikey was there, the out kid, now with a husband in chinos, rainbow pin glinting. He cornered us by the bleachers, smile knowing. Heard you two been thick as thieves. Jordan stiffened, arm dropping from my waist. Always are. Mikey's gaze pinged between us, gentle probe. Good. Own it when you can. Life's too short for closets. The words lodged, festering. Ride home silent, radio murmuring country twang, broken hearts and dirt roads. At his door he turned, face shadowed. He's right. I cupped his cheek, thumb stroking. I know. Inside, urgency gripped. Clothes shed frantic, his mouth devouring mine like atonement. We fucked against the wall, rough and reclaiming. Him lifting me, legs wrapping waist, nails scoring his back as he thrust deep, grunts mingling with the headboard's thump. Sweat slick slides, pleasure spiking sharp, his name a chant on my tongue. He came with a shudder, burying face in my neck. Sorry, whispered hot. I followed, clenching around him, waves crashing white hot. After, curled on his bed, sheets twisted evidence, reality intruded. Dad's asking questions. About you. His voice small, boyish. I tensed. What did you say? Just friends. But he saw the truck too much. Paranoia bloomed, thorny. My own home front crumbled. Dad finding a stray condom in the wash, eyebrow arched over dinner's meatloaf. Seeing someone, son? Mom's eyes hopeful, fork pausing midair. Yeah, kinda. Half-truths choking. The breaking point snapped mid-October, leaves crunching rust gold underfoot. Jordan's game night, Bengals versus Steelers, the basement TV blaring cheers and curses. His dad presided, lazy boy throne, cooler stocked with brews. Harper, get in here, boy. Mr. Mills bellowed, face ruddy from the grill's smoke still clinging. I settled on the couch's arm, Jordan beside, thighs brushing covert. Halftime, he slipped upstairs for snacks, motioning me follow. Bathroom door clicked shut, lock snicking. Can't wait, he breathed, yanking me into the shower stall, dry but tiled cold. Mouths crashed, hands fumbling zippers, his palm stroking me urgent over denim. I bit his shoulder to muffle moans. The roar of the crowd downstairs ironic cover. Quick and dirty. His fingers curling inside me, prostate hit sparking stars, my hand pumping him to ragged completion. We cleaned up hasty, faces flushed, rejoining the game to whoops over a touchdown. But Mr. Mills' eyes narrowed, beer paused mid-sip. You boys okay? Look like you saw a ghost. Jordan's laugh cracked. Just the refs, Dad. Tension coiled, spring tight. Post-game as I left, Mr. Mills clapped my back. Grip vice. Take care of my boy, Alex. He's all I got. Weight crushed, unspoken. That night alone in bed, ceiling staring back, doubt gnawed. Was this sustainable? The lies piling like autumn leaves, brittle and burnable. Next dawn, Jordan called, voice thick. Fight with Dad. About college. About everything. I drove over, finding him on the porch swing, chains creaking rhythm. He spilled. Pressures mounting, the facade cracking under spotlights. Job interviews looming, family expectations like chains. I can't breathe, Alex. Tears tracked, salty on my tongue as I kissed them away. We made love slow in the guest room, bodies aligning deliberate, missionary deep, eyes locked, his hips rolling waves that built tectonic. Whispers wove, stay with me, always. Climax crested shared, a quiet quake, leaving us fused, fragile. But fragility shattered days later. Text from Tommy. Saw you two at the reunion. What's the deal? Gossip's whisper, amplified. Jordan panicked, voice call frantic. Meet me, now. Diner on the edge of town. Neon flickering open 24/7. Booths cracked vinyl exhaling age. He slid in opposite, face ashen. Tommy knows, or thinks. Heart plummeted. So what? Let him. Defiance but fear laced it. We drove aimless after, windows down, wind whipping confessions. I love you, he said at a stoplight, hand over mine on the stick. But this town's poison. Truth stung, Elmwood's picket fences hiding pitchforks. Back at his goodbye kiss lingered desperate, porch light buzzing sentinel. Sleep evaded, dreams tangled in thorns, faces judgmental, doors slamming. Morning mail brought the bomb. Ohio State deferral letter for him, finances tight. Dad flipped, he texted. Blames me for distractions. Guilt gnawed my ribs. That night, storm brewing again, we met at the creek. Our childhood haunt, water gurgling over rocks slick moss. Under the weeping willow, branches draping curtains, we stripped bare, moonlight silvering skin. Water cold shock, but his body warmed, hands linking underwater as we floated, currents tugging. On the bank after towel shared, he broke. I can't hide forever. Neither could I. Dawn pinked the sky as we dressed, resolve hardening. We tell them, together, his nod, fierce. The turn that night birthed this us against the world or with it. Thanksgiving loomed like a guillotine, turkey-scented blade sharpened on family traditions. Jordan's house first. Mrs. Mill's table groaning under cornbread dressing, cranberry relish tart as accusations unspoken. We sat side by side, knees brushing under damask cloth, his pinky hooking mine covert, a lifeline in the storm of small talk. How's school, Alex? She asked, passing peas, eyes kind but probing. Good, ma'am. A's and B's. Lie glossed. The real grind buried under longing texts and midnight drives. Mr. Mills carved the bird with ritual precision, knife flashing, juice pooling red. Jordan hears thinking trade school. Welding, maybe. Steady work. Pride laced his tone, but Jordan's fork scraped plate loud, tension coiling. Yeah, Dad. Under the table, my hand squeezed thigh, solid, reassuring. Post-feast stupor, menfolk to the den for football, women clearing. Jordan and I wash dishes, suds bubbling alibis. His hip nudged mine, whisper hot. Tonight, escape plotted. Movie at my place? I suggested to the room casual. Nods all around, oblivious. My house next. Mom's pumpkin pie spiced with cinnamon warmth. Dad's stories of factory days laced with layoff bitterness. We endured, facades cracking at edges. His laugh too bright when Dad joked about landing a nice girl. Eyes met mine, apology silent. Bedtime. I snuck him into my room. Floorboards creaking traders. Under covers, bodies aligned spooned. His hardness pressing insistent. Slow grind, muffled gasps into pillow, hand over mouth as friction built. Release spilling quiet, sticky between us. Dawn exiled him out the window, ivy snagging his jeans, a thief in daylight. But the high crashed mid-December. Christmas lights twinkled Elmwood festive, but shadows lengthened. Jordan's shift at the auto shop, grease under nails, lug wrenches clanging. Left him drained, but we snatched ours. Back alley behind the parts store, his mouth on me against brick rough, hurried and hazardous. Or the old mill ruins, snow-dusting ferns, where we'd bundle in blankets, fingers linked as stars wheeled cold. Crisis brewed New Year's Eve. Town bash at the VFW hall. Ball drop on a grainy screen, confetti cannons primed. We went separate, bros pose, but gravitated inevitable. Dance floor sticky with spills. Bodies pressing close under excuse of Auld Lang Syne. His lips brushed ear. Midnight. Clock ticked merciless, countdown chanting. At 0, chaos, hugs, cheers, his mouth claiming mine in the crush. Tongues tangling brief, electric. Pulled apart gasping, but Tommy saw, eyes widening across the floor. Aftermath hit like hangover hammer. Texts barrage Jordan. Dude, WTF? You gay. From Tommy, then ripples, whispers at the barbershop, sidelong glances at the pump. Jordan withdrew, calls dodged, porch light off when I drove by. Heart fractured. I cornered him at the shop, oil-scented air thick. Talk to me. He wiped hands on rag, black-streaked. It's out, Alex. Dad knows. voice hollow, eyes red-rimmed. The confrontation replayed in fragments. Mr. Mills storming in early, finding a forgotten hoodie. Mine, monogrammed H. Whose is this? Demand barked. Jordan stutter, then flood. Alex's. We're together. Silence deafened, then eruption. Words like shrapnel. Faggot? Under my roof. Slaps echoed. Not flesh but spirit. Jordan bolting to the creek. Me finding him hours later, curled fetal on the bank, ice-crusting mud. I held him then, no words, just body heat against winter bite. He'll come around. Lie but necessary. We drove to my place, Dad's truck absent, double shift. Room mine, posters of bands faded, bed a raft in turmoil. Undressed slow, reverent. Kisses mapping hurts, tongue soothing the welt on his cheek faint. On knees, I worshipped. Mouth enveloping, slow suction drawing whimpers, hands kneading thighs tense. He came undone, fingers white-knuckled in sheets. Love you, sobbed. I climbed up, entering him gentle, rock slow, eyes anchors. Rhythm built tidal, his legs locking ankles, pulling deeper, gasps sinking to the radiator's hiss. Shared peak, a bomb, leaving us fused, tears mingling on pillows. January thawed slow, but fractures lingered. Jordan couch-surfed at Mikey's, husband welcoming with casseroles and counsel. Come out on your terms, Mikey advised over coffee bitter. I visited covert, basement liaisons. Pool table forgotten, bodies bent over felt green. His thrusts claiming, grunts echoing off cinderblock. But isolation gnawed. Texts to me sparse, laced guilt. Dad's not speaking. Ma cries nightly. Valentine's, I plan bold. Road trip to Columbus, Ohio State's campus a neutral ground. Pack the truck, cooler with subs, blanket for the Buckeye bleachers empty. Drive north, highway humming under tires. Radio crooning Springsteen anthems of blue-collar dreams deferred. Arrived dusk, dorms glowing. We checked into a motel off I-71, neon vacancy, winking promise. Room sparse. Bed queen-sized mercy, TV static snow. Dinner picnic on the Olentangy River bank, skyline twinkling distant. Remember freshman year? Sneaking beers here. He smiled faint, sandwich crust torn. Yeah, you puked in the bushes. Laughter cracked ice. Back to the room, petals I'd snuck. Red as resolve, scattered. He pushed me down, straddle bold, grinding deliberate, nipples pebbled under palms. Mouths fused, his riding my thigh to slick friction, moans vibrating chests. I flipped, burying face between legs, tongue delving, lapping until he arched, release flooding sweet. Then inside, face to face, slow rolls building to frenzy, headboard tapping Morse. I love you. Post-bliss, curled, he confessed. Want to transfer here. Start fresh. Hope flickered. Do it. Dawn. We walked campus snow-dusted. Hands brushing accidental on purpose. Future tangible as the arch's stone. But Elmwood pulled back. Spring break. Dad confronted. Mom's slip about late nights. That Mills boy? What's going on? Eyes stern over meatloaf reheated. I cracked. We're dating, Dad. Gay. Silence chewed. Then sigh heavy. Your life, son. Just be happy. Not acceptance, but foothold. Tears pricked. Hug awkward. Back pats paternal. Jordan's thaw slower. Mr. Mills grunt at the door one April Eve. Coffee? Neutral ground at the diner. Booths neutral. Words minced. Hurt me, boy. But he's my blood. Jordan's nod. Tears held. I love him, Dad. Pause. Then, prove it. Not forgiveness, but door ajar. Summer solstice we celebrated. Backyard fire pit at Mikey's. Esmore sticky. Laughter thawing. Alone after. Jordan's truck bed under stars. Blankets piled. Bodies entwined. Love-making languid. Fingers first, scissoring prep, then entry smooth, his on top, pace unhurried, whispers weaving vows. Climax crested sun-like, warming bones. Yet tension simmered. Tommy's crew cornered Jordan at the garage. Jeers laced, fairy, wrench tossed mocking. Fist fight erupted, noses bloodied, knuckles split. I arrived to sirens wailing, him cuffed tentative, eyes wild. For us, he spat to cops, defiance. Charges dropped, small-town mercy, but bruises bloomed metaphorical. Healing hike, July heat wave, up Hocking Hills trails, waterfalls misting, rocks moss slippery. At the top, overlook vast, he dropped to knee. Not ring, but promise. We'll make it. Kiss sealed, wind witness. The night that started it all echoed, turned toward light. Autumn leaves turned elmwood to fire, but our blaze burned steadier, tempered by trials. Jordan enrolled at community college. Welding program, sparks flying literal from torches, mirroring the ones in his eyes when he came home grease-streaked, pulling me into showers steaming forgiveness for long days. My shifts at the cafe evolved. Managers nod to partner, subtle shift in scheduling around our evenings. Dates proper now. Drive-in revivals, his head on my shoulder during Brokeback Mountain. Ironies whispered, or bonfires at the quarry. Flames dancing shadows on faces, marshmallows charred sweet. But undercurrents roiled. Dad's fishing trips awkward at first. Rods casting lines, conversations baited careful. Your ma likes him, he grunted one dawn, line whipping. Says he's good people. Bridge built plank by plank. Mrs. Mills warmer. Pies delivered with hugs tentative. Take care of each other. Mr. Mills grunts softened to questions. How's the shop? Over backyard brews, cooler thawing. Crisis-crested Halloween, carnival midway lights strobing garish, cotton candy cloying. We went as partners in crime. Zany excuse, but hands linked open now, fingers interlaced defiant. Ferris will creak descent, car rocking gentle, town sprawled below like a map of memories. At the top, sway pregnant pause, he turned. Move in? My lease up. Heart soared. Yes. Kiss at apex, world tilting. Winter gripped iron, snow blanketing sins. Apartment hunt. One bed above the laundromat. Walls thin but ours. Paint chipping peeled fresh eggshell. Couch secondhand sagging but shared. Moving day. Boxes thumped stairs. Laughter echoing hollows. First night. Pizza boxes strewn. We christened the space. Kitchen counter cool under back. His thrusts rhythmic to the fridge's hum. Gasps fogging window panes frost-laced. Home, he murmured post, bodies slack. Spring bloomed reconciliation. Mr. Mills' birthday barbecue, ribs smoked low, sauce tangy. Jordan grilled beside him, tongs passing like olive branches. Proud of you, son. Quiet aside, beer clinked. Tears Jordan hid in sauce wipe. Later, dance in the yard to garage band's cover. Slow sway, his chin on my crown, Dad watching from porch, nods subtle approval. But shadows stalked. Tommy's wedding invite arrived, summer affair. Us as +1 ambiguous. RSVP'd together, bold. Ceremony church stiff, vows echoing hollow for us yet. Reception tented, lights strung fairy, we danced open. His hand low back possessive, whispers soon ours. But drunk uncle slurred slurs, ain't natural. Fists clenched, but Jordan's squeeze steadied. Not tonight. Aftermath, drive home rain slashed, wipers thwacking. When? He asked, voice storm small. Thanksgiving? Announce proper. Plan hatched, nerves electric. Summer sweltered, road trip west, Route 66 echoes, motels neon ghosts. Grand Canyon rim, vast chasm mirroring guts. He proposed proper. Ring simple silver, knelt on red dust. Marry me, Alex? Tears blurred vista. Hell yes. Laughter bubbled. Kiss salt stung. Back. Wedding buzzed. Elmwood rallied subtle. Mikey's bake sale fundraiser. Mom's dress alterations. Even Mr. Mills. Whatever makes you happy gruff. But doubt nipped heels. Dad's health scare. Chest pains factory forged. ER fluorescent harsh. Waiting room vinyl stuck thighs. Jordan's hand anchor. He's tough. He soothed. Thumb circles. Clear EKG, but wake up. Life fleeting. Fall harvest we reaped. Apartment filled. Photos framed. Creek shots candid. Canyon selfies grinning. Night's routine sacred. Dinner shared. Dishes sudsy duets. Bed beckoning bodies. Love-making varied. Tender vanilla dawns. Rough roleplay dusks. His dom growl mine. My sub-yield shivers. Peaks plural. Explorations endless. Toys tentative. Prostate pulses new frontiers. Thanksgiving dawned crisp. Turkey trust hope. Dual dinners. Mills first. Announcement post pie. Table cleared. Breaths held. Dad, Ma, we're engaged. Forks paused. Then Mrs. Mills' squeal, hug enveloping. Mr. Mills' cough masked emotion. 'Bout time. Beers raised. Toasts slurred joy. My side. Pie cooling. Words tumbled. Getting married. To Jordan. Mom's gasp joy. Dad's clap shoulder. Knew it. Welcome, son. Not son-in-law, but close. Tears collective, pie forgotten. Winter wedding small, January courthouse. Snow confetti. Suits charcoal sharp. Rings exchanged vows whispered. Through turns, forever. Reception Mikey's, cake 3-tier vanilla. Dances swaying slow. Tommy toasted awkward. To love, real. Redemption arc. Honeymoon cabin Poconos. Snow-muffled world. Fireplace crackle, fur rug sprawl, bodies oiled glide. His mouth worship lower. Tongue rimming tease to entry slick. Pace deliberate. Angles hitting stars. Cries echoing logs. Multiple rounds. Exhaustion sweet. Life post. Jordan's certification landed foreman gig. Sparks his signature. My degree pursued nights. Cafe stable scaffold. Weekends wandered, hikes handhold, movies cuddled critique. Anniversary first, creek return. Picnic same spot. Rings glint. That night, he mused, head lap. Changed trajectory. I smiled, fingers hair. Best plot twist. But turns linger. Dad's retirement party. Speeches maudlin. Jordan's toast. Families chosen too. Cheers wet-eyed. Mr. Mills' grip firm. Proud. Summer storm one night. Thunder rumble memory. Power out. Dark embrace. Bodies navigate touch. Kisses lightning. Love you. Gasped mid-thrust. Always. The night that pivoted us echoed eternal. Proof love's detours lead home. Years folded like accordions. Each pleat a chapter etched deeper. 5 in, the apartment traded for a fixer-upper on Maple. Porch swing creaking lullabies. Backyard plot tomatoes bursting summer. Jordan's shop expanded. Crew diverse. His leadership quiet command. We build. We last. Pride swelled watching him. Grease-smeared grin homecomings. Pulling me porch-kissed thorough. My bachelor's framed. Teaching gig at Elmwood High lit class. Great Gatsby dreams dissected. Kids' eyes widening worlds. Jordan volunteered coach, Little League echoes. Mentoring with patience paternal. Like us, kid, he'd say to a fumbling pitcher, hands steady. Anniversaries marked rituals. Creek dips chilly. Canyon trips annual. Rings polished vows renewed. Sex evolved symphony. Mornings lazy mutual. His fingers crook perfect. Evenings exploratory. Straps and vibes humming harmony. Peaks polyphonic gasps. Family wove tighter. Dad's garage projects. Jordan wrenchside apprentice. Beers post-sweat stories swapped. Mom's holidays, tables groaning kin. Including Tommy's family now. Kids tumbling chaos. Mr. Mills' health wane. Heart murmur monitored. But barbecues his throne. Toasts to my boys. Crisis revisited subtly. School board murmurings on curriculum. My defense fierce. Love's universal. Backlash brief. Allies loud. Mikey's petition. Parents support. Jordan's rally. Picket sign equal hearts. Hand mine defiant. 10th year. Adoption whispers. Agency visits sterile. Home studies probing. Ready? He asked Knight's head chest pillow. Born ready. Process labyrinth. Papers piled. Weights agonizing. But baby boy arrived foster to adopt. Dark curls his. Blue eyes mine. Naming ceremony backyard. Kin circled. Welcome, Riley Mills Harper. Fatherhood reshaped. Bottles warmed midnight. His lullaby baritone soft. My story hours. Pages turned tiny fingers. Diaper dashes tag team. Laughter leaking. Nights post-bedtime. Reclaiming. Quickie quiet kitchen. His palm gag muffle as I take. Release hushed reverence. Riley's first milestones. Steps wobbly to Jordan's arms. Words dada dual delight. School start. Backpack stuffed. Teary drop-offs. He's ours. We affirm, hands clasped bleachers. Challenges crested teen years. Riley's questions early. Two dads? Cool. But peers probes, crushes confused. We guide gentle. Heart leads, kid. His first boyfriend. Awkward dinner invite. Advice echoes our youth. Be brave. Jordan's shop downturn recession. Layoffs lean. Nights worry worn. My extra shifts subsidy. Will weather. He vows body solace. Slow love loft bed. Entry emotional. Tears tracing temples joined. Silver wedding loomed, but health harrowed. My checkup flagged shadow lung. Biopsy blade fear. Benign cyst. Relief flood. But wake. Cherishing acute. More trips. We plan. Riley backpacking join. Grandkids eventual. Riley's wedding lakeside. His partner steady. Vows borrowed hours. Toast circle. Dad's full. Mr. Mills absent but spirit in wind. Dance floor. Jordan pulls close. Still turns me. Riley's kids tumble now, graying us grand. Porch swing sags fuller. Stories spun laps. Evenings. Fire pit crackle. His head shoulder. Best plot. Legacy lingers. Community center named. Youth group mentored. Mikey's legacy. Our nurture. Turns that night birthed this tapestry. Loves weave resilient. Threads gay bright against heartland drab. Dusk one eve, creek stroll, Riley's echoes distant games. Remember, Jordan asks, arm waist. How could I forget? Kiss lingers, timeless. The night took its turn, but we chose the path, meaningful, eternal.